Hi, I'm Dick Figgins. The past couple of weeks, Daniel's been saying we need to tell our story. After the past month or so, I figured I have a story to tell, so maybe that's what I should do. August 7th, it's almost a year ago, my wife Terry and I started coming to the bridge, and it changed my life and her life forever. Terry and I own a small 82-year-old fishing tackle company, Dick Knight Spoons. If you need to go buy any, they're in all the stores. It's been around all my life. My parents got into it when I was 12. I bought it from them quite a while ago. Terry and I did. We haven't had any real financial problems for a long time. We were pretty broke when we got married, like everybody, and Dick and I was going good. Terry's worked at a hospital outside the home for ever. She gets medical benefits, not something we get, as a self-employed person, so that's an important part of our life. Everything's going good. We got 5 acres out in a rural county. We've got 2 dogs, chickens, 2 motorcycles, 2 cars. Doing pretty good. That all kind of changed January, February of 2016. To make a long story short, we put $100,000 that we didn't have into a saltwater flasher. The river business, we've been a freshwater fishing tackle company for 80 years. Last year in 2015, the state decided, well, maybe we need to shut the rivers down for a couple of weeks. And it's only a 6-week season, so that took about a third of our business away. And I thought, well, need to go into the saltwater. We've been a freshwater company, done pretty well for 80 years, so let's move into the saltwater. Found a product that was in demand. Bought the die, bought the rights, bought the business. It hadn't been running, but it had a track record. Spent $100,000 of money we didn't have in the fall and the winter of 2015. By January or February of 2016, we were in Cabela's, Sports Authority, Sportsman's Warehouse, Sportco, stores in California. The 3 biggest wholesalers, sporting goods wholesalers in the world, had us in for buy and distribution, so things were looking pretty good. The first payment on the loan came due in, I think, February of 2016, which is the same month the state came out and said, by the way, there's no salmon fishing this year in Washington State, period. Oops. Well, that was a bit of an issue. To make a long story short, I was going through hell on earth. 3 EKGs, constant feeling of impending doom, a pit in my stomach. It was terrible. It was an absolute nightmare. I was even to the point of wondering if it would just be better to find a stool and a rope and head out to the barn, because there was no way out. As far as I could tell, we were losing 90% of our income, because most of our income comes from river fishing, and we weren't going to have any of that, and then we weren't going to have any salt water to pay for that flasher that we had just brought to market. So not a good time in our life. Thank God for Terry, my wife, because she kept telling me, doesn't matter, we'll get through it. I'll stay with you forever. They got really nice cardboard boxes. If we end up in a cardboard box, I've seen some really nice ones that, like, refrigerators came in, so we'll be good. Thank God for partners. Thank God for letting me have somebody that cares about me. She still had her job, which would probably pay our mortgage, maybe a little more in benefits, so at least we'd be healthy street people. This terror that I was going through went on for about 6 months, I think. In August, I was coming off of nights with 3 hours sleep, worrying, dreading waking up in the morning. Terry'd get up, she gets up at 4:30 to work Dick Night and then go to the hospital. She'd get up at 4:30 and I'd wake up after going to bed at 1:30 and lay there and toss and turn and try and figure out what to do. Terry came to me one day and said, "Next week we're going to the Bridge Church." And I said, "Why?" She said, "Because John and Jessica are going to Thailand to pick up Abby, and they're going to have a prayer session for him." And I went, "Oh, okay, well, that's okay, as long as they're not trying to trick me into joining or anything." So I went with Terry and sat, and they kind of did trick me. It was just an actual service. They were going to pray afterwards, so I had to sit there through the whole thing. Daniel was preaching, and he was preaching out of the Psalms about challenges that people go through and paths they take, and he said something like, "Somebody in this room has a real problem." And I went, "Yeah, I know who that is." And he said, let's just bow our heads, close our eyes, and we'll pray about it. If you've got a problem, God will know what it is. Just raise your hand and we'll pray." So we closed our eyes, and I made sure nobody was looking. I raised my hand, and Daniel prayed. So the service was over. Oh, then we prayed for Abigail. Don't want to forget the important part. We prayed for Abigail and John and Jessica, and good thing we did, because evidently it's turned out pretty good. She's quite the great little kid, and they're the great parents. We stood up and walked to the back of the church, and I noticed I didn't have that pit in my stomach or the feeling of impending doom. Everything on my mind wasn't bankruptcy or going broke or going out of business. So I told Terry, "This is weird, I don't feel that anymore." And she said, "Cool, you know." So between then and now, I felt pretty good. We joined a life group, and Gary kicked us out of that life group. I think I was too much competition for him. But we joined a life group, got to know a lot of great people, and then the life group grew, and we split apart a little bit, and John and Jessica are the leaders of our life group now, and we built a great family, wonderful people that we've gotten to know and love. Got a lot of feedback on the who, how, what, and why of Christianity, because I didn't know much about it. It's just awesome. A lot of the sermons don't have anything to do directly with me. I guess that's okay, but I'd prefer, just Daniel, for your information, in the future, you could make them about me. The life has been going on pretty evenly since then, since August 7th. Lately, Daniel's been talking about we all have a story, and you should tell your story. Well, a couple months ago, the Mark 4:37-40, it talks about when Jesus was in a boat with a bunch of disciples or apostles or something. Yeah, the details kind of escape me sometimes, but I get the big picture, I hope. Anyway, they're out in this boat, and a big storm comes up. It just comes up, and there's water coming over the rail, and there's like panic, there's wind and rain, and it's just a nightmare of a situation. And all these guys are sitting in the boat, and Jesus is asleep in the front of the boat, and these guys are freaking out. And one of them yells, "Jesus, wake up, dude, we're dying here and you're asleep." And Jesus woke up and he said, "Have you no faith? Peace. Be still." And the storm died down. Everything was okay. I mean, these guys were panicked. Their motor conked out. The radio wasn't working. They got a flare gun out and there wasn't any flares. Maybe that wasn't in the story. But they went, "Yeah, wow, I think this is somebody we want to hang with." So, a little while later, in the sermon, I realized that I don't take notes. I'm not a note taker. And when Daniel had started telling this, I had opened up that foldy piece of paper thing that we get at church every Sunday, and I had written down "peace, be still." And it dawned on me, that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me on August 7th, 2016. God saw what I was going through. He saw the turmoil I was in, the heartache and the pain. And he said, "Peace, be still." And it's been kind of peaceful since. But now I'm being reminded of that, and this is like almost a year later. And I thought, why is it? That's kind of weird. It comes back around, but maybe that's the way church works. Maybe it's just same thing over and over again. I don't know. A week ago, 2 weeks ago, I walked into my office. I've been reading the Bible every day. I got a neat reading plan I'm doing on my phone, and it's been talking about the Old Testament mostly, and so I'm reading my Bible, and I look up and my computer screen went black. I thought, oh, weird. Finished reading the chapters that I needed to read for that day, and put the Bible down and reached over and wiggled my mouse, and the screen didn't come on. I thought, oh, I hate fixing computers. I've been doing them too long. It's like changing the oil in your car. It's not something you want to do. I don't do it. So anyway, I make a long story short, 3 days of working on the computer after the little window popped up that said Windows is not responding. It's not a good sign. On day 3 of 3 hours a night sleep, feeling like everything was going wrong. I couldn't get it fixed. I don't have $6,000 for a new computer. I have to fix this one. I got up on the 3rd day and thought, I've got things to where I can write an invoice. I can't email anybody an invoice, but I can write it, and I can do some shipping as long as the computer stays running long enough for me to print the labels. And I thought, I just need to take a break from this. So I sat and I started reading the Bible, and part I was reading came to Isaiah 45, 9 to 11, I think it is. It says, God says to Cyrus, "Does the clay say to him who forms it, 'What are you making?' Or your work has no handle." The clay doesn't tell the potter how to make it. And my life now is about letting Jesus form me into something that he wants. So I thought, I just need to quit trying to solve this myself. Let God do it. So I put the Bible down and prayed, and this time I said, I need to be able to turn this over to you, God. I just talk to him. I don't sound like really theological or anything when I'm praying. It's more of just a conversation, because I figure if he can, understand Aramaic or Hebrew, he can probably figure out what I'm saying. So I said, God, I need to have more faith in you. Give me more faith. Let me turn it over to you, because I'm back to trying to drive the bus again. I think I'm worrying about things I don't need to worry about, and I really need to turn my life over to you. Give me the tools to do that. And I got the shipping and invoicing done for that day. Computer crashed a few times while I was trying to do it, but it was about 2:30. I was all done. I thought, I'm going to go out. I'm going to just read the Bible some more and sit on the couch and just take a break, because I've had 3 days, 6 hours of sleep in 3 days. And so I was sitting reading the Bible, and I fell asleep. I woke up about 45 minutes later, and I was at peace. It sounds like a story. It's not a story. It's the truth. I didn't blink when I said that. I was at peace. I thought, well, I'm going to go in and give it one more shot. And I walked in the office, and I sat down right where I'm sitting now, in this black chair with all that junk on the walls. And I looked over, and the computer was dead again. And I thought, well, dang it. Might not have been those words, I thought, but same meaning. I thought, well, I guess I'll just fire up the other computer and start working on that one when we get it. I went, wait a minute. I have a perfectly good computer sitting right next. I just looked at them. They're 2 inches apart. Right next to the one that's broken. It's a bigger computer, has more memory, more hard drive space. It's 2 years newer. Why don't I just transfer all the stuff from the old computer onto the new computer and be done with it? It'll do it. Let me repeat that. I had a perfectly good computer sitting next to the broken computer that I've been trying to fix. I started transferring everything over. It's been 3 or 4 days now, and it's almost all done. I can do everything. I can do UPS, I can do invoicing, I can do email, I can even print stamps. I can't not get on Facebook. I didn't fix that part. I still get on Facebook. But I started thinking about this perfect storms that we get in. Jesus, I think, if I'm wrong, somebody will tell me, but I think he puts us in those. I think he puts us in those situations. I think the whole business falling apart was masterminded by God. He said, look, there's a 60-year-old guy. He thinks he has fire insurance. He was saved when he was 13, and he hasn't done a thing about it since. He needs to wake up. So he dropped the bottom out of my cage. And I started grasping at air, and ended up, he offered one more time, want to come to church? And we came to church. And he showed me peace. He let me be still. Things got better. Then I got complacent, and I just kind of started riding that wagon down the road. No, look, I'm a Christian. I'm going to church. I go to life group. I love it. I'm reading the Bible. I mean, I'm having a great time, but not really working on being a better Christian. I'm just kind of, what do they call it? Something about your laurels. I'm resting on my laurels. I didn't even know I had laurels, but I was resting on them. And so he gives me another little wake-up call. And he blinded me to the fact that I had a perfectly good computer sitting next to the broken one that I could use. He let me go through 3 days of anxiety, but thankful to the tools I've learned, praying, looking to God, putting Him first. It woke me up to the fact that I need to be a better Christian and that I could use that other computer. It's the storm on the Dead Sea with those guys in the boat. It didn't happen. He made it happen so that he could make those guys go, "Whoo-hoo, this guy's somebody, man. We really need to pay attention to him. Pay attention to God." I think He puts us in situations that cause us to need to trust Him, and I'm glad He does, because, man, it's helped me. I'm doing a video right now of me sitting here in a cluttered up old office, but I'm talking about stuff that a year ago I wouldn't have ever thought about talking about. God's good at waiting, but I think He gets impatient sometimes, and He wakes us up. I'm going to start paying attention to when He starts waking me up. Wake up a little sooner. Anyway, about done here. I wrote down, so there's my story this year. It may have seemed really long. Trust me, this was the truncated version. Anybody that knows me knows I can talk a long time. But so happy rebirth day to me, August 7th. Thank you, God. And happy first anniversary for Terry and I coming to church. And thank you, everybody at the bridge. You're a wonderful family.